Hey, what's up guys? Joe again from Grindhouse Grotto. Some of you all might have recently heard the news. It's about a month ago. Shout Factory has purchased the rights to the extended library of Roger Corman films. Now, if you've been following Scream Factory and Shout Factory for a significant amount of time, you know that Scream Factory and Shout Factory, they own the rights to several of the Roger Corman films. But from my understanding, what's big about this deal that they just made is that now they own the rights to all of his films. So that is incredible news for people that love Roger Corman. And I am one of those people. I love Roger Corman films. I just love the real simpleness. The films don't take themselves seriously. When you sit down to watch a Roger Corman film, you're sitting down just for the sheer entertainment factor, and that's it. Okay, you know what you're getting yourself into when you sit down and watch a Roger Corman film. So, my first Roger Corman film that I got introduced to was none other than Humanoids From the Deep. I love this movie. Yeah, it's just over the top, ridiculous, just really silly film, but at the same time, the entertainment factor in this is just awesome, okay? It kind of has the feel to me like it's like got some suspense elements in it, similar to Jaws. At the same time, it's got over-the-top gore, similar to your typical slasher movie. You know going into it what you're going to get with a Roger Corman film. I've already stated that. It's just really ridiculous storyline, really silly at times. But I think that's what gives the charm to these films, okay? So, this is going to be a two-part review. I'm going to be covering the actual Blu-ray release from Shout Factory, and then I want to talk about the film a little bit and why I enjoy this film a lot. Alright, so I'm not really sure what year this was released. I think it was one of their earlier releases when Shout Factory first came into existence. So this is a very, very early release from Shout Factory. This might even be before they actually created Scream Factory. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the cover here. Pretty cool cover art there. Now this film actually goes by Monster as well. So in Europe and Japan, this movie went by the title of Monster, and it was called Humanoids From the Deep in America. So we got some alternative cover art there. Pretty cool stuff. This particular release comes with like a little booklet inside. It's got the original artwork on there. And it's just a little catalog that talks about Roger Corman and a little bit about the production that went into making this film. It's got some pretty cool pictures. There you go right there. Got a picture of Roger Corman. Some pictures of the humanoids from the deep. And then with all the Roger Corman classics, they always have at the end some of the other releases in the lineup. Pretty cool stuff here. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual special features on this release. So on this release, it's a pretty loaded release. We get a new high-definition transfer of the uncut international version, never before seen deleted scenes, trailers, TV and radio spots. Leonard Maltin interviews Roger Corman on the making of the film. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm sure it's really good. I just like to hear, what's going on in the mind of Roger Corman because he's a very interesting guy. The making of Humanoids From the Deep, featuring new interviews with Roger Corman, second unit assistant, director James I can't even pronounce that. Spadar-Lati, I guess. Composer James Horner and Cindy Wintrop, and New World trailers. So yeah, it's got a lot of really good special features on here. Definitely going to have to watch some of these. But yeah, pretty solid release from Shout Factory. Like I said, this has been out for a long time. I purchased this last year. I had the original DVD release of this. It wasn't even the Shout Factory release. It was like a really crappy quality DVD release. I ended up selling it when I ended up purchasing this. So, let's talk about this film and why I enjoy it so much. Humanoids from the Deep is just... I mean, let's just take a look at the cover real quick, okay? Look at that cover art right there. Absolutely awesome cover art right there, okay? So, when I first saw this film, and I didn't see this film until maybe when I was in college. I was kind of, you know, just on these late nights and I'd be staying up, staying up late. I would just kind of be going through different movies on Netflix. And there were some, really crazy Roger Corman films that were on there. And this popped up on my list on Netflix. And I instantly was drawn into the cover. You get these really creepy eyes in the background. You get this, very attractive lady laying on the beach. She seems like she's under duress. She's holding her head. It just looks really ominous and creepy. And this is on the cover. They're not human, but they haunt women. Not for killing, for mating. Okay? And that's a little bit into the plot here, which I'll get into. But these things are killing for mating. Okay? Well, this movie, really do enjoy it. I'm into the old school Universal Creatures movies. And so this film kind of reminds me of that, of Universal Creatures a little bit. Creature from the Black Lagoon, that's kind of what I see in this movie. So if you've seen Creature from the Black Lagoon, you already kind of know what this movie's kind of about. It's very similar. You got sea creature, or sea creatures I should say. Let's get into the plot a little bit. So there's a small fishing town, and every year they run a annual salmon fishing derby. Okay, and this local company basically stocks the water that they're fishing from with salmon, and they are actually experimenting on these salmon. They're pumping them full of hormones, kind of trying to make them bigger so that way they can attract a larger crowd to these annual outings, these salmon derbies. Well, the experiment that they're doing kind of goes wrong, and these genetically modified, these salmon that are hormone enhanced, they end up getting released out into the water, and they get eaten by other fish. And what happens is we get these mutated creatures, these massive humanoid. They look like similar to humans. They have the same body of a human, but they have like a fish head, which is really crazy. You have to see the film to know what I'm talking about. I'll put a little picture up over here. But yeah, so these like humanoid fish are wanting to mate. So they are attacking young teenagers that are, camping out on the beach, swimming in the ocean. These teenagers keep disappearing. And local people in the village are just randomly getting killed one by one. So, that's pretty much the plot of the film. I mean, it's just a really crazy, over-the-top plot of these humanoid fish that are, killing villagers. There's one crazy scene at the end of the movie where we see, like, a village being taken over by these humanoids, these monsters, and they just come in and then they're just pillaging the city. I mean, it is crazy. It's over the top. These things are like laying on top of these women and attacking them, but they're like moving all around. I mean, we already know what's happening. They're trying to mate with these women. It just looks so ridiculous, but at the same time, it's highly entertaining. Okay, so they are trying to mate. I mean, there's a lot of nudity in this film. Okay, so if you're going into this and you are very soft to that kind of thing, I would say avoid this film. But if you're a guy like me, you don't mind it. There's a lot of nude scenes in here, a lot of teenage couples making out, having sex on the beach. They're getting attacked by these humanoids. That's what you're going to get in this film. And so we get actually a lot of really good attack scenes from the humanoids attacking people. So there's one scene in particular where this couple's on the beach, and they're in love with each other, and they're swimming out in the water. And I must say, this scene is just so memorable to me. Okay, the way the sunlight kind of shines down on the water on the beach. It was very well filmed. The cinematography in this is excellent. So the male teenager goes out in the water, and he's kind of trying to tease the girl and tell her, come out in the water, come on, swim on the water with me, or whatever. And she's, you know, stripping down into her, you know, underwear and panties, and, you know, her panties and bra. She goes out in the water, and before she can actually get to him, you know, he's all waving his arms around, whatever, and he's getting attacked by one of these humanoid fish. And so she's screaming, you know, bloody murder at the top of her lungs, and another humanoid on the beach comes up and attacks her. And then we see a scene of her basically laying down, getting pretty much raped by a fish. Now, if this seems crazy to you, it is crazy, okay? This whole plot is just so out there. Don't go in this film thinking you're going to see an awesome film, like it's going to be a well-written film. Look, Roger Corman doesn't care about the plot. He's all about the entertainment factor, okay? What do people want to see? It's kind of interesting about, if you've seen interviews with Roger Corman, he talks about you know, what goes into making these films, what's kind of in his thought process when he's making these films. And he understands human nature a little bit and what people want when they go see a movie, okay? What is a guy... These movies are pretty much targeted for guys. What does a guy want to watch on a late night when he's getting out of work and he just wants to relax, drink a couple cold beers? This is what they want to see. You want to see just a really easy plot. You don't want a plot that you really have to think a lot. This film, you don't have to think at all. It's just basically a nonsensical plot. Yeah, that's pretty much what you get with this film. I mean, just humanoid fish attacking women, raping them on the beach. It's not all about the rape scene. People don't go into this thinking, oh, I want to see a fish rape a woman. That's not what you're going into with this film. You're going in this film because it's just a fun, just ridiculous movie. And that's the entertainment factor you get from it. And that's what I enjoy about this film. I don't have to think a lot when I'm watching it. I just throw it on, drink a cold beer, just kind of laugh at some of these scenes, how ridiculous they are. There's something about these films too that I really enjoy. There's just this sense of like this early 80s, late 70s, early 80s feeling to these films. Something about that time period just is really satisfying. It's what really draws me to these films. I can't really put a finger on it and say what in particular gives me that feeling. It's just the overall feel. The overall way that Roger Corman directs these films, it has this like early 80s, late 70s feel to it that I really do enjoy. You know, it's just the way that the acting style back then, the way they dressed. It's just, if you grew up in a time frame, now this is way earlier than me because I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. But if you grew up in that time period and you're watching this film, you're definitely going to feel the nostalgia. It's like bringing you back to that time. That's what Roger Corman does with his films. I think they're really, they haven't aged very well. So if you grew up in that time period, you're definitely going to get brought back to that time. But yeah, that's what I enjoy about Humanoids from the Deep. I just really enjoy these over-the-top, ridiculous films. I don't have to put a lot of thought into them. I can sit back with a cold beer and just watch these humanoid mutated fish, you know, kill these scantily clad women, and, you know, these ridiculous scenes of these guys in this village attacking these large, you know, these large mutant fish. That's what you're getting. So, if it sounds like something that you'd like to watch, I would say this is a good entry into the Roger Corman series. Now, you all probably remember some of the films that you've heard him before, some of his more popular films, like Piranha. That's one of them. That's easily probably my next favorite film that he's made is Piranha. I think Piranha is a little bit slower to me. It's hard for me to really enjoy. I do enjoy it, but I prefer this movie over Piranha. He's had some space films that he's made. Trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, he's got some space films. I haven't seen too many of his space exploration, you know, his really schlocky space exploration films. I'm definitely going to get into them as I've purchased more of his films, but I think I've just kind of glossed over him when I've watched them a few times. I didn't really watch them all the way through. But yeah, these two right here stand out to me as my favorites out of the Roger Corman series. But yeah, he's got a massive library, and also too, he's produced some of these films, so he actually hasn't been involved in a lot of his films as far as writing the stories and directing them. He's kind of been in a producer role. So you probably know he's done the Slumber Party Massacre films, the Sorority House Massacre films. He's been actively involved in those. He has a lot of proteges, okay? People that... He's jump-started a lot of people's careers. He jump-started James Cameron's career. Some of these other well-known actors have all started from the school of Roger Corman. And it's kind of funny because if you look how ridiculous his films are, and then how serious in nature James Cameron's films are, it's like, how did James Cameron get to that point? We all have to start from somewhere, and I guess they learn from the grand wizard Roger Corman. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on Humanoids from the Deep. I love this film. I'll stand by it until I go to my grave. I love this film, and I highly recommend for guys like me. If you like this kind of thing, you need to go check it out. It's a good movie just to kind of kick back on a cool beer after a long work day, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section, what is your favorite Roger Corman film? What Roger Corman film are you hoping that we get released from Chef Factory now that they own the rights? Alright, guys, that's it. Until next time, take it easy.